Welcome to the SLS podcast, where the unseen become visible and the cosmic speaks. I'm your host, Kaiser. I'll be guiding you beyond the ordinary. Now, today, and I've been waiting all day to make this podcast, we're going to begin a journey to something very extraordinary. I've talked about it before, so if you need to catch up, go back and watch some of my other videos. I'm going to have this one more structured, more specific on what 3I Atlas is all about. How did this, well, some call it a comet, it traveled 10,000 years through the depths of space and has finally entered our solar system. Matter of fact, they spotted it in July 1st of this year. That's the third one. That's what the three means. The first one was Oumuamua, and the second was Bosmar-Verskov. That was in October of 2017. Then the second was in 2019. And like I said, many people call it a comet. Some may even call it an asteroid, but I want you to leave those labels behind you because what we're observing, the emissions, the energy, the carbon-based compounds, you don't see it from comets. And we're going to get more into that, exactly why there's no way that can be a comet. That's the details. You're going to see a completely different story. It's not just ice and rock drifting through space. The evidence is going to point to life processes, or at the very least, highly organized chemical systems. Carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and carbon sulfide. Now we know wherever there's carbon, there is life. There's life processes. You know carbon-14 dating, right? Carbon. That's a scientific name for melanin, in case you didn't know. Or ether. So I suspect these beings has to be carbonated people to be withstand all that emissions from even just minute amounts of radiation is harmful if you don't have that carbon protection. Now there's more. That's just part of it. We're going to talk about plasma. You know what plasma is? Well, to give you a short version, it's ionized matter. It's alive with energy. It's not static. It's like it responds to a magnetic field. So at the first you look at it, it may not be charged, but once it's ionized, it becomes interactive. In other words, it has intelligence to it. And anywhere we have intelligence, we have consciousness, we know that's some type of life form. Plasma is a lifeblood. Now, when you look at this, they call it a coma, a bunch of gas surrounding this craft. And let's talk about the size of it. They say it's about 700 kilometers. That's half the diameter of the sun. Half the diameter of the sun. That's over 800,000 miles. Now, as we said, these particles carry energy interacting with magnetic fields, and there's life inside and around this body. They could sustain and activate. Now, see, that's the weird part about a comet. Usually it has a tail because it's pushing aside the dust, from the path of the sun. That dust can interact with the sun, and that's what causes solar flares. That's why in 2017, Oumuamua, when that craft came, that pancake one, there's an earthquake that came the day before or the day of. So those solar flares are responsible for the energy transmitting from these objects in the sky. Now, my own perspective, which is very interesting, I don't know if you heard it before. Have you heard of the second sun? If you're in the chat, let me know if you've heard of the second sun by one. Okay, in my circles, I've heard the idea of a second sun, and yes, as prophet hints about it arriving, a timing, and a 1,000-year journey. It seemed to align with the cycles of the ancestors, what they say would happen, the alignment of cosmic energy. And we would call this an anomaly. And the signals you're picking up is going to be shifting. It's energy. Everything is energy. So this is a new chapter. This is a new chapter. I'm telling you. There's intelligence out there for those who think everything just happened by a big bang. No. This is proof that there's intelligence out there beyond our. Even scientists at NASA has stopped trying to give it attributes and how it's made up because it's beyond their solar system. It's beyond our solar system, so we don't know specifically what's beyond. We know it's a higher form of intelligence, so we can't begin to understand it in our limited perspectives here on Earth. So that's a mouthful. Let's see what else we got. I talked about the second sun. Okay, let's break down this plasma so everybody can see exactly what it is. If you look at pictures of it, if you go online, you see it's glowing. That's the ionized gas. It's surrounding the body. That's the part that actually will grow as it becomes energized. It will grow. That's why I'm saying that even though it's half the sun diameter now, in a month or maybe a few months, or at least a year, it can be the size of the sun. It could be. We don't know what this thing is doing with the interaction with these planets, the conjunctions. On the 20th, it's usually every new moon for the next 2 months. There's going to be a conjunction with Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and other planets. And it's like they're talking to each other. Okay? Now, I know I need to slow down, but I need to get this out. Yeah, I have other things I got to do. So we talk about this environment that it's in, and it's transferred energy. It's a life supporting process. And then let's talk about ionization. That's the process of atoms losing electron due to energy exposure. So the plasma does that. It loses electron, it's interact. That's why it becomes magnetized, so to speak. And anything like that in the quantum field, we know it has consciousness. That's something I think people don't understand. That all these bodies have consciousness. And these gases, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and carbolic sulfide, are not inert. They suggest cycles, metabolism, chemical life. These are molecules that life on Earth depends on. They're present here. These gases, that energetic transfer of plasma, they move. And it interacts with solar winds, magnetic fields, and potential eternal life. Internal life. So energy exchange in a dynamic, purposeful way. So I just want you to imagine for a minute. Energy flowing around the traveler. Imagine 10,000 years of traveling, fractions of time accumulating toward a single point, arrival in our solar system. Each year, each fraction of their journey contributes to the unfolding process of this body. The bureaus that prophecy cycles you've heard, 10,000 years, 10,000 fractions converting to one. That's something I learned from my esoteric studies. It takes 10,000 fractions to make one. You've never been taught that in traditional education. We know that 2 halves make a whole, 3/3 make a whole. But how many fractions make a whole? How many fractions before the 1/2? That's the largest they got is 1/2. No, we need to go further than that. When you can't get no more fractions, when you have enough to make it a whole in that 360-degree cycle, when you complete that cycle, you have 10,000 fractions to make a whole. So that's it. That's it. That's what I want to give this first episode. So I hope you can keep this reference so we can go deeper next time. And we're going to explore how plasma interact with the magnetic field. We're going to get more detail in that. It's the same thing in the body. We have plasma in our bodies. It's life processes. And carbon base is the signature of life. So that's how this can evolve into a secondary sun. And we don't know the broad implications of this for the earth, for humanity, for prophecy. So I want you to focus on that anomaly. They call it 3I Atlas. Atlas is the name of the military group that's actually tracking it. So listen to the physicists, the geometric physicists, see what they're saying about it online. Learn more about and pay attention to these carbon emissions, the plasma glowing, and the energy interactions. Because, they want to hide things. They always do. They say for our protection. But if you don't know something, you're not being protected. Ignorance is a great, in other words, if you're ignorant of something, you can't be protected from ignorance. So it's always good to know. But you can understand the scientific point of view. If everyone knew, they may think the end is near and they don't understand it. And they go wild. If people thought the end of the world would come, they just might go wild, thinking they're going to die tomorrow and have total chaos. I can see that reasoning because it doesn't take much for people to have chaos. Well, with that, we're going to wrap it up. Unless I see some questions here in the chat about what I've been saying. But like I said, we're going to talk more about this. Do your own research. Fact check everything I said, because that's what I do. I do research. I don't just come here and spout off things without any verification. So I got my resources from this one guy on YouTube named Stefan. He geophysicist, and I just go to chat, go to AI. Yeah, I just listen to people conversations and I pick up. I'm very interested in science. I got a background in science, so it's easy for me to follow the science. So do the same, okay? All right. Until next time, we're going to say this is signing out.